Hey, what's going on YouTube? V20 for Christ here coming at you. Hey, today we're going to do a review of a cool little walkie-talkie here. It's known as the T298s. So before I begin, I need to apologize for the little bedroom voice going on here. The majority of the family is asleep, so I got to kind of be up on the microphone and doing my Barry voice here. So anyway, let's go ahead and jump into it. First of all, as you can see in front of you is the radio, and I'm going to be using this high-tech pointer here to point out various areas of the radio. So real quick, let's go ahead and cover the exterior. It feels okay. I don't know. There's a few cheesy parts of it. Let me try and hop in here real quick. Right up in here, there's like a gap between the push-to-talk button. Also up in here, there is a humongous gap between the antenna and the actual radio. It looks really, really tacky. Originally, when I saw the postings for this radio, I actually thought that this antenna up here would be used as part of the actual cell phone. And to the best of my knowledge, it is not, because if that'll focus in there, you can't really see it. Anyway, it says UHF 400 something megahertz. So I was really hoping that the antenna on top of the rig was dual purpose. Another thing I noticed too is when you tighten the antenna, it's kind of whopper jawed, cattywampus, whatever you want to call that. And depending on what angle you look at it, the antenna looks a little bent. Belt clip seems okay. It's kind of weird though, because when you pop it open and you go to pop the battery case out here, it's kind of in the way if you need to get up under here and change SIM cards and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and show you the SIM card slots. Hold on here for just a second. And that thing will just about rip your fingernail off trying to get it out of there. Alright. So there we go. You got big full-size SIM. I call it a little SIM. It's not the micro SIM. And then your SD card. The other thing I noticed too is the EMI number that comes on this radio is not the correct length. I believe you have to append it with a 0 when you're registering it with a cellular service. 2 contacts in back for drop-in battery charger, which is not included. The speaker on this thing is unbelievable. It'll blow you out of the room. 2 buttons right here. This bottom button kind of activates the internal push-to-talk software, and then the top button will actually transmit on an analog channel. Wish I had another radio in here. I'd grab it for you, but we'll just kind of walk through this. So let's go ahead and power the unit on here. As you can see, it's got this fun-filled Android version 4, like 1990s MP3 player kind of logo here. And currently right now I have Zello installed on this most updated version. As well as the internal software for the unit. Alright, and like I said, it definitely looks like an old early 2000s like MP3 player. It's very, very crude, but Play Store works, so you can go ahead and install stuff from there. The navigation is a little weird. This top button right here on the right, one click takes you back. Hold it down, takes you all the way back to home. Then this button right here turns your screen off, and then of course you get your screen on, and then to make calls and all that stuff. So let's go ahead. Also installed Broadcastify. So for my particular region, this is kind of nice because you can hop in there and say, hey, just bring up stuff from my area. So I'm just going to do a Where's the most popular feeds here? top 25 feeds. Sorry, it's kind of hard to look at this thing and hold it up to you all at the same time. Let's pick Chicago Police. It's like 1,000 and something listeners. I'm going to put this guy at about half volume. Just to bring the microphone over here so you can hear the quality here.
Offender in custody? No. Victim information?
Now, I will tell you, Broadcastify is a little... They're a little tinny anyway. And I back that down quite a bit because it's just it's kind of painful to listen to, so I'm going to exit out of here. So that part of the radio works pretty good. The Zello app, we're going to head and bring this guy up. We'll do a quick echo test here. Stand by. Audio test 1 2 3 4. Audio test 1 2 3 4. So that's the echo test on Wi-Fi. And now what you just saw pop up here is kind of annoying. This is the internal push-to-talk application that comes with the unit. And it pretty much functions very similar to Zello. You can uninstall it, but you cannot disable it. You can stop the task. So it's just kind of annoying. Occasionally it'll pop up every once in a while. Currently Zello is assigned to this button right here on the side. And I actually disabled this button because there were some complaints that this button was still active when the screen was turned off. So I can turn my screen off, right? I can still interact with Zello and get my traffic back without the screen coming on and sucking down my battery, which is kind of cool. The analog app, this was kind of interesting here. So for those of you who have this, I looked all over the place. I looked all over the place and I could not find the application to load the analog radio for the UHF. And I was losing my mind. I'm like, wait, you gotta be kidding me. There's a little button here on the side, this bottom button. When you hit that guy, it comes up with this screen. I'll try and hold this so it'll focus. Oh, come on. Anyway, this is the screen of your channels and your frequencies. I'm really sorry that you guys can't see this better, but when you go in here, you can list up your channels. Like I got FRS1, FRS2. I got some empty ones. There's a ham one down here at the bottom, and you just pull up these channels, and you can either hit this button. Oh, stand by. First, you have to open the channel. And or did I close that? Sorry. Open the channel. And then that's transmitting when I press that. Or I can press this upper side button here, the upper one. And I can transmit there as well. And that actually goes out via UHF to another unit. Now the other thing I noticed here is a lot of times once you come over here, something gets all whacked with your volume. There is no way to turn down the volume for the UHF portion outside of this, right? But you can hear how loud that is. Whenever the UHF radio portion is open, it is just blaring obnoxious loud. And occasionally, this has happened to me about 4 times. It actually does something to the volume, to the microphone. So when I go back in other applications, the radio will be all whacked out, and I'll actually have to reboot it to get the microphone back. So I haven't quite figured out what's causing that yet. As far as service on this device, this is a GSM WCDMA device. It does not work on Verizon, at least as far as I could tell, but it does work on AT&T. So went up to AT&T today, got a prepaid voice data, all that stuff. I think it was $30 or something, which is pretty steep to me. That's almost $1 a day for something that I could run on my regular phone. battery in this guy's a 3500 milliamp battery. Been running it all day, pretty active on the unit. Had Broadcastify going. I'm at about 36% battery. So it should last you all day. The settings in here, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, typical Android kind of device. The volume thing on here is very, very annoying. Even when you have the volume just slightly turned on, it's so unbelievably loud. It's just mind blowing. You got your SIM management, your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth. The other thing that was kind of interesting too is when this guy showed up and you went to mobile networks. I think this is it. Yeah, mobile networks, preferred networks. Yeah, this guy right here. Everything was from overseas. There was no U.S. preferred networks in here. So you had to go out to Wikipedia or some other source and then locate all the network IDs and then go ahead and enter those, where most network IDs start with 310, 311, or 312, at least here in the States. I mean, overall, I'm not super impressed. I'm evaluating this radio for inclusion in a much larger project. Some things I like about it. I like the fact that you have both radios all in one. That you have both a UHF and a network-based radio to perform radio over IP. I like the fact that your phone is here. I like the fact that your text messaging is here. I mean, everything, it's all here. You know, it's anything that you could want. The downfall is the screen is so small. And if you go into something, let me try and find something here where we would have to enter something. Here, let me go in here real quick. I hate to go in here because I have to reboot the phone again probably. Let's go in and let's try and edit one of these channels. Back up here. Oh, darn it. Navigation's kind of cumbersome. Do I hold it down? Yeah, modify. Okay, so I'm going to try and type in a channel name, and I want you to see how tiny that keyboard is in relationship to my finger. It's very, very difficult to type, let me tell you. I mean, it's possible, but it's difficult. The other thing is, too, your CT, CSS tones. There's only one place to enter a tone, and it applies to both transmit and receive. So you can't have one for each different one. Let me see here. Other things I liked about the phone, you can actually change the battery with the belt clip still on the back. I've seen some of these Chinese radios where you can't do anything because it's just so poorly designed. I like the microphone jack, you know, your standard Motorola kind of jack. I love the fact that it charges via USB. That's way, way cool. I haven't checked its waterproof ratings. They said it was like IP 57 or something like that. You have both rear cameras and front cameras. I don't know. Overall, I mean, it seems okay, but it just, I don't know. I was expecting more. I expected the software to be a little more rock solid. It's definitely kind of buggy. This volume thing is unbelievably annoying. And the other annoying thing is, too, say you got this guy, and this is probably the most annoying thing about this radio. Say you got this thing in your pocket, it's turned off, or you got it on your hip or something like that, and you want to turn the volume up and down. It does not register the volume up and down. You actually have to hit a button to activate the phone, and then go ahead and turn it up and down. That's super annoying. Overall improvements that I would like to see on this. One, fix this gap on the antenna. I mean, look at that. Looks terrible. Two, should have both channel and volume at the top. Both of those should work when the radio is in standby. This push to talk button feels a little, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. I would enlarge the push to talk button on the side here for your analog radio. For the price of this, I would also include DMR. I think it should do analog and DMR for the price that it has. And the screen has got to be bigger. I'd get rid of all this stuff. You know, who needs 1 through 0 anymore? It's all soft base. I'd keep your basic navigation stuff, move that down to the bottom, extend the screen out. Probably change the belt clip around a little bit. But overall, I'm not super impressed. I mean, it is an interesting piece of equipment. There's a lot of uses. I got to do a write-up on it for, a very large nonprofit group and see if they're going to implement it. This is the baby of the tier. It's the cheapest one. Out of China, you can get these things for about $140. Give them a little cheaper on the demo price, but I don't know, China. You're going to have to improve this stuff a little bit. So outside of that, this is it. It's my review of the unit. I am going to write some custom software to put on this, and hopefully we can get some more stuff going on. But anyway, there it is. The T298s. I had to do this video in the English format because everything I found on it was either German or some other language that I couldn't understand. So, and then if you're curious on the antenna type, I think I took this off earlier. But there's your connector. I'm sure people would be curious of that. And that's it. Also, one other thing is make sure that the antenna up top also covers the network operations of the radio too. So that way it's got more punch through than a regular cell phone. So anyway, guys, penny saved for the kingdom is a penny earned. And I appreciate you hanging around with me and tolerating my sexy bedroom voice. Peace.